Calvin said that somebody, that Calvin wrote to somebody and said, don't watch my channel. And I'm not even making any money on YouTube. How could I be vicious? How in the hell could I be mean? I'm not the perpetrator here. It's the guy that told you not to watch my channel. Okay, I'm getting back into the Smooth Lee and the Calvin beef. Smooth Lee has not made one substantive argument about Calvin. Calvin says, go to the Philippines, keep the woman in the Philippines. But Calvin has been with two Filipinas. One he brought back to the United States. And as Calvin says in his own words now, she's a homeowner and she's no longer with that guy that we all saw on Rafi Tufo. You know, the guy that everybody says is a racist that's raising Calvin's son in a racist environment. I don't feel that way. I can't watch a 40 or 50-second clip and determine a man's ideology and his intent from a 40-second clip unless he is actively participating in something. But just because he's saying something, I don't have context. Okay, so Calvin did exactly what Smooth Lee did the first time. The second time, Calvin has kept his woman in the Philippines and he has not married her, but he has provided for her. Smooth Lee, on the other hand, met a Filipina in the United States. They're happily married, have a little girl, and life is going really well for him. So Calvin makes videos that says do the opposite of what Smooth Lee is doing. And Smooth Lee makes videos saying do the opposite of what Calvin is doing. That's okay. That's all right. When guys are looking at what they want to do, the province girl, the city girl, you know, the girl from Timbuktu, the girl from Patawan, girl from Masbate, when they're looking at all of these things, they have to have intellectual options. This is cyberspace. This is cyberspace. And you got to understand that by virtue of the fact that I'm talking into a camera, this has a high degree of unreality. This is not really the real me. It's me, but it's not the real me. So when you're taking advice from someone that's sitting in cyberspace, you got to understand that person is sitting in cyberspace. And let me explain the unreality of cyberspace. Right now, I'm sitting in cyberspace, and there's nothing that's going on around me. And even if I were to walk outside the door and start panning things, I'm still basically in a controlled environment. But let's say that I do go outside and all of a sudden there's gunfire, boom, boom, bang, bang, bam. And a bullet strikes me directly in the heart. Bam. I'm on the ground, I'm dead. None of that is going to be filmed because the camera's going to fall. And somebody might pick up as much as they possibly can and, and sensationalize it. Dumbass gets killed. in Mexico, you know, trying to film women or something, But even then, that's still just a production. That isn't real. So here's Smooth Lee, who's not real, by the way, talking about Calvin, who's not real. People in cyberspace are not real. That doesn't mean that the person that is behind the camera is not a real person. That just means that that person is not real. So let's say that I told you to solve an equation. X to the second power equals 9. And I all of a sudden just popped out that's 3. That answer has nothing to do with methodology. I didn't isolate any variables. I didn't decouple the exponent. I didn't decouple the exponent from the variable. I didn't go to the right side of the equation and put a square root of 9 over there and then thus resolve to 3. I just said x squared equals 9, and therefore x is 3. That's relatively meaningless. That's an instant answer. That is not the way that you learn algebra. That is not the way that you learn calculus. That's not the way that you learn statistics, because that's not going to be the way that you perform them. That's not going to be the way that you perform them. That boring stuff that boring stuff before the answer, when you're decoupling all of the coefficients from that variable, you're isolating that variable, you're isolating numbers on the other side. All of that stuff is the real stuff. The answer is trivial. The real stuff led to the answer. The answer was not inherent. But what people think is that x squared equals 9. X squared equals 9, x equals 3. They think that that is inherent. And they think that that's an inherent property of those numbers. And it's not. It's not. If someone said 9 of what? 9 ghosts, 9 dogs, 9 people. 9 things that cannot be multiplied or split. Now we got a problem. See? That's why the method is more important than the answer. So what we got here is that Calvin has an advantage over Smooth Lee. And the advantage that Calvin has, and it's just like that, x equals 9 or x squared equals 3. The advantage that Calvin has is that he has boots on the ground. And I didn't understand what that meant. But now I understand. I understand. Because I see people come into Mexico. And I see them come in with fear on their face. And I see them come in lost. I see them standing at a damn taxi stand, taking taxis. I mean, they don't know these people in these taxis. They don't even understand that the guy that's saying, hey, do you want a taxi? He doesn't really even know the taxi driver. He's just trying to hail this guy to get a tip. I mean, He wouldn't care if Satan was driving that taxi. If he can grab your bags, throw them in that taxi, and you speed off and give him a tip, he doesn't care. Taxi driver doesn't care who you are, where you're going, not really. And if you can't explain in Spanish where you're going, that's all the better. Because then he knows that he's got a guaranteed fare. Because he knows under Mexican law, if you attempt to stiff him, that there's going to be some legal consequences. So he knows once you got him in that taxi, so I've got to watch these people now. I watch these people and I see how fearful they are. So that's Calvin's advantage. Calvin, for example, it takes 72 hours to recover from flying over to the Philippines. No one's going to tell you that. ABC ain't going to tell you. Geo ain't going to tell you. And, once they hear of it, once they hear of the phenomenon and understand the physiology of it, they're going to say it. But right now, they're not saying it. I'm not saying anything that's revelatory. It's just, I understand that. So the first 72 hours, when you land on that tarmac, you're disoriented. You're hot, you're lost, you're in a linguistic fog. Now, I know where I'm going. I know exactly where I'm going. I know which national highway is this way, that way. I know which bus to take. I know where the bus terminal is. I got friends in the Philippines that are damn near family. They're going to protect me. I'm going to protect them. They love me. I love them. We don't have any problems. We have a 35-year relationship. I can go any place in the Philippines and always refer back to my people in Bondo Guat. Hey, where you from and where you going? I just came from Bondo Guat. Well, that's a small place in Cebu, right? Yeah, that's my stomping grounds. Okay, instant credibility. Instant credibility. But what if this is your first time and you're not with your wife because you don't have one yet. You don't have a girlfriend yet. You haven't met anybody yet. You don't know anybody in the Philippines. And the only contact person that you have are YouTubers. Smooth Lee, he can't help you unless you're going to Vegas. He can take you to some damn good hiking trails in Vegas. And you might want to go. And if I want to go to Vegas and hike, I'm going to call up Smooth. I'd rather go to St. George or go east on the Wasatch. But if I ever decide to hike in Vegas, I'll call Smooth. And me and Smooth will, ride and die in Vegas. Okay. Because Smooth is in Vegas. But no matter what advice Smooth gives me online, he can't do anything for me once I touch down on that tarmac. When you get on that tarmac, you take your ass to St. Carlos City. And you stay in that guest house for about 72 hours at least. and you ask Marilyn what she thinks, you're going to be a hell of a lot better off asking Marilyn if she has a cousin, if she has a sister, if she has a mother. You're going to be a hell of a lot better off asking Marilyn to recommend somebody, or does she know somebody. You're going to be a hell of a lot better having Marilyn giving you an introduction than stumbling around on a dating site and trying to do some type of smooth lead thing, trying to wander around the world looking for a Filipina. You can always, after you've recovered, you're at the guest house, you've asked Marilyn, you don't like any of Marilyn's choices, that's fine. Then you say, hey, I'm going to head off to Cebu. I'm going to head off to Manila. I'm going to head off to General Santos. What's the big deal? Marilyn ain't mad. Calvin ain't mad. But you know where you're going. Now you're oriented. You got direction. You're on the way. You're rolling. But if you just listen to Smooth, Smooth can't get you outside of the U.S. borders. I doubt that Smooth's advice can get you out of the city of Las Vegas, to be honest. Smooth might be able to tell you, how to win at blackjack on the strip. Blackjack 21. Me and Smooth winning. But Smooth is not going to be able to tell you a damn thing about the reality of the Philippines. It's like, I can't tell you about the reality of the Philippines. I can't, because I'm not in the Philippines. I don't have boots on the ground. One of my coworkers called me from Dallas yesterday. He called me. His perception of Mexico and what really goes on in Mexico, two different things. And he was with another coworker, and that coworker is a bilingual Mexican who's a Mexican citizen. And his perception of what goes on in Mexico is entirely different than what goes on in Mexico, because they're not in Mexico. So you can't, if they jumped online and said, hey, I'm going to tell you everything that's going on in Mexico, that's not going to work. That ain't going to work. So all of the stuff that Smooth is saying, it's great. Pick this, pick that. Pick an apple, don't pick an orange. Pick grapes, don't pick cucumbers. Pick a guitar, don't pick a violin. Pick a jerry curl, don't have your head nappy like this. Pick a high top fade, don't have your hair nappy like this. Shave your head bald. You look better like that. Take out all of that gray and dye it all black. See, that's the type of stuff that you hear on the internet. And you think that that stuff is substantive. It's not. That's about like you walking into the store and asking the sales guy, I want to get married tomorrow. Next week, give you a little run time. I want to get married next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months. Can you recommend a tuxedo? Now think about it. You're going to get married in that tuxedo. You're not going to go swimming in the tuxedo. You're not going to go skiing in the tuxedo. You're not going to ride motorcycles in a motorcycle race in a tuxedo. You're not going to jump on a bike and ride off in a tuxedo. You're not going to play any type of football in that tuxedo. That tuxedo is something that you really are just going to stand there stiff in, and you're not going to damage the tuxedo because you got to bring the tuxedo back. So if it's a green tuxedo, a blue tuxedo, a pink tuxedo, a purple tuxedo, and I'm a purple gorilla that jumps into the purple tuxedo, it doesn't matter because what you got is a tuxedo. That's what you got. You just got a damn tuxedo. It's a one-day event. It's not a big deal. Photographs well. But you can have the best damn tuxedo on in the world, and you can walk into that ceremony, and when the guy says, do you take so-and-so to be your lawfully wedded, whatever, whatever, and then all of a sudden you turn around in like $1 million tuxedo and say, hell no. Forget this 304. Okay, you go in there and you act like that. You don't call the thing off. You go in with the tuxedo and go all the way up there, shame people and all of that. What you really should have got was a bulletproof vest and not a tuxedo. So that's what Smooth is constantly talking about. He's always talking about the damn tuxedo. He's not talking about anything that's real. Calvin doesn't clearly understand that he has the definite advantage. He has a definite advantage because boots on the ground is meaningless in cyberspace. I've learned that. I've watched so many of these damn videos. I've even watched videos where I'm at. I've watched Portuguese people speaking these videos, and I'm talking about right down the block. I've seen Portuguese people speak in the video, brasileiros. I've seen Spanish people, from Spain speak in the video. I've seen Germans speak in the video. I've seen Italians speak in these videos. And it's always the same damn thing. Some guy is walking down the street, got the camera, and all you're looking at are buildings. And occasionally they might have a pretty girl in there. But that's travel videos. You're just looking at a whole bunch of damn buildings in a downtown district. You don't see a damn thing. So you think that guy on that video is actually showing you something? He's showing you nothing. But what he is being a provocateur. Hey, you want a woman? American women ain't this. They ain't that. They ain't like this. We got it all here. There ain't nowhere where they got it all. If there was somewhere where they had it all, and Smooth Lee is right about this, there would never be a scam video ever made anywhere in the place where they got it all. you say, hey, come here, come here, come here. The women are great, the women are great, the women are great. And then the very next day, you make a scam video. Or you can say, well, I'm appealing to a different audience. But think about it. You just said the day before that you got it all here. And then the very next day, here you are, you're rolling a scam video. Craziness. So that's all theater. And that's all that goes on whenever you see someone behind the camera. It's just theater. It ain't real. Now, if you come here and you meet me, I'm talking about me, not some guy you see in the camera. You meet me and you say, hey, you know what? I want to go and buy, I want to go and I want to go. What's a good thing to go? I want to go and buy seafood that I can prepare. Now we got some choices. And now we got some complexity. If you think that somebody can sit online and tell you where the best seafood in this town is, and let's say of the major supermarkets, no, no. I can take you to S-Mart. I could take you, what's that other brand? Sonora. It's not Sonora, but it starts with an S. I forgot. I can take you over there. And it's basically, it's HEB. I can take you over to the Walmart. I can take you over to Mi Tienda. I can take you over to the local butcher shop, which has some of the best selections in the city. And I would rate the local butcher shop over the big stores. But that's my personal preference. I got to take you so that you can choose in accordance to your preference, not mine. So if you tell me that I need to meet a Filipina in the United States smoothly, that's got a job and is smart and this and that and that and other, you're not telling me anything. If Calvin tells me I got to meet a Filipina that's in the Philippines and not take her to the United States, he ain't telling me a damn thing. So a lot of these times you're looking at these videos and they're saying absolutely nothing. They're saying nothing. Now, you come to Mexico, you ask me, hey, I want to meet a woman. And I got some friends that very handsome, and sometimes they go to Colombia, sometimes they go to Brazil, sometimes they come here to Mexico. Well, I've learned I can't tell them anything. I can't tell them anything. I might think that woman X is fabulous, and they think that she's trash. I might think that woman Y is trash, and they think that she's a treasure. And I can explain that I know both of these people. It does not make a difference to them, because they're on that TikTok, 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 on the clock. They're on that clock. They're trying to get off in less than 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 24 hours. They're trying to get off instantaneously. They didn't come to date anybody. They didn't come to talk to anybody. They don't give a damn about anybody's families, feelings, temperament, disposition. They don't even care if the woman can speak English, if that's what they do. They don't give a damn. So I can't look at it from the standpoint that Smooth Lee is looking at it from. I can't. He met his wife in Las Vegas, and he met her over a course of time, which he admits. He saw her. Maybe they worked together, and maybe they were in the same social setting, and then he approached her. It took time. Or maybe she approached him. It took time. Well, You just lost 72 hours getting acclimated to the Philippines. You're on a damn week vacation. You got 4 days left. You got 4 days left. You're going to have to make something happen. And it doesn't really care who it's happening with. you know, a sick grandpa will tell you, you got 4 days left, 4 hours left, 4 minutes left. Hell, ladyboy will do. I mean, you're out of time. I mean, you got to get back on that jet and go where you came from. Now, let's say that you say to yourself, well, I'm going to just stay in the Philippines. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stay in the Philippines. Okay, now you got actual things that you have to do. Find a place to stay. Find a financial conduit. Now, I can tell you, hey, this bank is best, and that bank is best, and this bank is best, but it's an entirely different thing when you got to walk into the door of that bank and actually deal with the people in that bank. I mean, then it's not advice anymore. You got to sit there and literally attempt to hold my hand, or I just cannot get it. So Smooth Lee, he ain't going to hold your hand. He's just going to jump on the internet and say, I hate to tell y'all this, but y'all making some bad choices. That's all he's going to say. Now, what Calvin is going to say is you come to St. Carlos City and you may make some bad choices. I've made some. Probably you've made some. The guy right here in the camera has made more than anybody on the planet in the history of the world. I've made some horrible choices. But while you're out there making these bad choices, you can stay at the guest house. You can ask Marilyn if you have any in-depth questions, and we're going to be here for you. Please don't abuse our time. Respect our time. If you want to give us a bad review and say that my channel ain't this and I did that and this and that and the other and I'm a bad guy, that's perfectly within your rights. Can't win them all. Only can win sometimes. That's okay. But what you will never be able to say is that I was not here for you. And there's a difference. Smooth Lee is never going to be able to say, I was here for you. You were in Cebu, and I was in Cebu with you. You were in Manila, and I was in Manila with you. You might be able to say you were in Vegas, and I was in the casino with you. But, so, this is a simple thing. I like Smooth Lee. He's a great guy. I always watch him. But when it comes right down to the nitty gritty, you got to go with Calvin. Because if I go back to the Philippines, you know where look, I can go back to where I came from in the Philippines. I can type right now, hey, you know what, I'm going to be, send a what's up to somebody I know in the Philippines. That's a damn barangay captain. And say, hey, I'm going to be there on Wednesday, January, blah, 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 blah. Here's how much I want to pay for accommodations. Have my accommodations ready. I'll see you on January 20th. I get there on January 20th. That's the way it's going to be. But if you ain't got it that way, you better get your ass over to that guest house. you better get to the guest house. And so all of the stuff about Calvin is this and Smoothly is that and get this type of girl and get that type of girl. You get over here in Mexico, the last thing that you're going to have to worry about is a woman. You got a lot more things to worry about than a woman. I mean, it's like, saw a guy, he's crossing into Mexico, and he asked me, he says, where's the bathroom? Pointed out the bathroom. It was in a park, damn near a quarter of a mile away. But that's where the bathroom was. And then I told him, hey, you know, you're going to be better off if I just take you into Mexico. You're going to be better off. I've never seen the guy again to this day. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know how you, and I was from a high vantage point. I don't know how you walk to a damn bathroom, use the bathroom, and get lost coming back from the bathroom. But that's exactly what happened. And I see this all the time. You see some foreign guy and he's wandering down the street. He doesn't know where the hell he's going. He's looking around like this and he's looking at everything. I mean, it's just obvious. So it never surprises me if someone just, why would that, and then just grab their shit? I mean, they're wandering around like deer in a headlight. They got a lot more things to worry about than meeting a woman. So all Smooth Lee wants to tell you about is meeting a woman. Carlos in San Carlos, old Cal can tell you after you recover from that 72 hours and you got 4 days left on that week vacation, or let me see, my math is bad, you got 11 days left on that 2-week vacation. I mean, my arithmetic is bad. Arithmetic is not math, by the way, boys and girls. It's number theory, but that's different. That's another topic, boys and girls. Okay, here's the point, boys and girls. Look, some guy in Vegas telling you how to get a woman, just watch the guy, be entertained, but nothing he says is, if you're really planning on going to the Philippines, nothing that he says is gonna mean one damn whit to you once you get on that tarmac. And nothing that Calvin says on camera is gonna mean a damn thing to you once you get on that tarmac. The only thing that's gonna mean something to you is that when you have a definite direction to go in. Somebody asks you, hey, you ever been to the Philippines before? And you say, yes, I'm from San Carlos City. Okay, now you're working with something. Now you land on the tarmac and they say, you ever been to the Philippines? Where you going? And now all of a sudden you saying, well, I hear that I could go to Boracay, or I hear that I could go to Negros or the Chocolate Hills. I hear that I could then snatch all your shit. Because you don't know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, let me tell you something. You don't know where the damn police station is. That's what you just told the guy. I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where the police station is. So what's the guy gonna do? Take all your shit. You always know exactly where you're going. You know how you're going there. You know when you're going. and you know on what mode of transportation. You got to know those things when you land anywhere. If I land in Russia tomorrow, I will guarantee you that I will know where I'm going, when I'm going there, and how I'm getting there on what means of transportation. I won't leave without that. Now, granted, I used to be able to read Russian. So, so once you can do it once, you can do it again. So, therefore, I can say, okay, going to Russia, that's really no big deal. And I understand that they got 13 or 14, complex tenses and all of that sort of business. But, still, once you can read it once, you can read it again. So Russia would not definitely phase me. Now, if you were saying, hey, you're going to, well, already been to the Republic of China, so I guess I could cope with that. Where would I have a deep struggle? I mean a deep, deep, deep struggle. I can't think of any place where I'd just be absolutely lost. But there would be no place that I would go where I didn't know where I was going, especially in the first 72 hours. So you got to know that you're taking your ass to that guest house in San Carlos City. And that doesn't mean that you have to like Calvin. You may love Smooth Lee and not like Calvin. But Smooth ain't going to leave Vegas to save your ass. Calvin in St. Carlos City, he knows where the police station is.